1964 saw the Detroit Lions finish with 7 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties to earn 4th place in the Western Conference. The Lions were one of 3 teams to defeat the conference champion Baltimore Colts. A rugged defense has been the trademark of Detroit Lion teams, and 1964 was no exception. The formidable Lion defense permitted only 29 touchdowns, second best in the National Football League. As we watch the Detroit Lion highlights, we'll see once more that there's no football like NFL pro football. The Lions open the season against the San Francisco 49ers. Milt Plum, one of the league's top percentage passers, loosens up at Kezar Stadium. Husky Nick Petrosante, a 6-year veteran from Notre Dame, leads the Lions' ground attack. Lion fullback Nick Petrosante roars for 14 yards late in the second quarter. Petrosante turns left in and powers into pay dirt to put Detroit ahead 13-7. In the third stanza, Plum spirals a 40-yard pass to Barr. Another touchdown vaults the Lions into a commanding 23-7 lead. Wayne Walker caps a fine afternoon as his 4th field goal sets a club record, and the Detroiters down San Francisco 26-17. Detroit remains on the coast to clash with the Los Angeles Rams in a night game at the Coliseum. Rookie Bill Munson is back to pass early in the first quarter. But Dick LeBeau lays the Rams low as he intercepts and returns 18 yards. Plum unreels a 48-yard skyliner to Terry Barr, and Detroit dominates 10-0. The Rams retaliate. Bucky Pope makes a spectacular grab of Munson's aerial and coasts in to score, putting Los Angeles in control at halftime 14-10. Bruce Gossett's third period field goal attempt falls short. Tommy Watkins grabs the ball on the Detroit 5 and swivel hips 95 yards for an apparent touchdown. An illegal procedure penalty on Detroit nullifies Tommy's trip, and the Rams still protect a 7-point edge. Earl Morrow puts the finishing touch on the last-minute Detroit drive as he pinpoints Barr with a 17-yard touchdown toss, and the contest ends in a 17-17 stalemate. Before the largest crowd in Lion history, Detroit meets Green Bay under the lights in its home opener. Earl Morrall, a 9-year veteran who came off the bench to pitch the tying TD against the Rams last week, gets the starting assignment. Green Bay's Bart Starr delivers a 40-yard strike to Paul Hornung, who is ridden down on the Lions' 4. Leading 7-3, Lombardi's Legions are on the march again. Starr drops back to throw. Roger Brown bear hugs Bart, but Starr shovels a short pitch to Hornung, who hustles to the Lion 32. Green Bay tallies to lead at intermission 14-3. Fourth period activity sees the Lions driving. Morrall connects on a pass to Terry Barr, moving Detroit across midfield. Dan Lewis steps off a 16-yard gain to the Packer 15. The Lion drive culminates as Morrow flips to Pat Studstill. Pat scampers into the corner of the end zone for a TD, but Green Bay edges the Lions 14-10. The 1963 Eastern Conference champions, the New York Giants, invade Tiger Stadium for an interconference encounter with Detroit. In the first quarter, the Lions line up for a field goal attempt. But it's a fake. Morrow rolls out and hits Nick Ryder for a 23-yard touchdown, and the Lions lead 7-0. Late in the half, Morrow hands off to Watkins. Watkins whips a 58-yard scoring strike to Barr, and the Lions jar the Giants 26-3 to move into a second-place tie in the Western Conference. The Lions journey northward to take on Norm Van Brocklin's Vikings. Alex Karras is again a keystone in the Detroit defense. Terry Barr was one of 2 players in 1964 to exceed the 1,000-yard mark in pass receptions. Confusion reigns in the first period. Both teams dressed in white prove to be a passer's plight. Fran Tarkenton fails to sight a receiver and is dropped for an 11-yard loss. Following a Viking field goal, Fred Cox kicks off to Tom Watkins. Tommy travels 57 yards to the Viking 46. A few plays later, Dan Lewis steers into the end zone, and the Lions are in the driver's seat, 7-3. The second period sees Minnesota change jerseys, but while the Vikings admire their purple attire, the Lions take over the football on the Minnesota 23. Earl Morrow races up the middle on a quarterback draw play. Earl loses the ball, and it bounces into the end zone. But Gail Cogdill captures the pigskin for a Detroit touchdown and a 17-3 advantage. The Vikings surged back to tie it 17-all in the fourth quarter. Morrow and Barr threaten to break the stalemate as they connect on a 31-yard pass. The next play sees Morrow bootleg right, then throw. Cogdill snares the toss for a touchdown and a 24-20 Detroit victory.
To film session.
In sole possession of second place in the West, the Lions invade Wrigley Field, Chicago. Offensive guard John Gonzaga is enjoying an outstanding season. Bill Plum ends a scoreless deadlock as he forwards a 17-yard pay dirt pitch to Jim Gibbons. This tally, coupled with a Wayne Walker field goal, puts the Lions ahead 10-0. In the third quarter, the Bears threaten, but Bill Wade's pass is intercepted in the end zone by Dick LeBeau. Then, in the fourth period, Rudy Bukic is burglarized by Bruce Maher. Maher returns 28 yards and squelches the final Bear rally as the Lions whitewash the defending world champions 10-0. It's standing room only at Tiger Stadium as the Rams and the Lions vie for second place. Wayne Walker leads the Lions in scoring. Jim Gibbons, glue-fingered tight end, limbers up prior to game time. The Lions waste no time as Bill Plum begs a pass to Terry Barr for a 40-yard touchdown and a 7-point lead. Back on the attack, Plum goes to the air again. This time for a 39-yard completion to Cogdill. Plum continues to pepper the Rams secondary. His pass is complete to Gibbons, whose diving catch on the 1-yard line sets up another Lion TD. At the end of the first stanza, it's Detroit 13, Rams nothing. The Rams fight back as Gabriel hoists a 43-yard bomb to Carroll Dale for 6 points, and the Detroit lead is sliced to 13-7. With scant seconds remaining in the half, quarterback Plum sends speedy Tom Watkins on a streak pattern. Milt's pass is perfect, and Tommy struggles away from the last Ram defender to tally. Detroit leads 20-7 at halftime. Detroit surprises the Rams with a shotgun offense in the 4th period. Milt Plum takes aim on Cogdell for a 57-yard gain to the Ram 3. Petrosani went in for the score to make it 30-10 Detroit. Desperately trying to get his team back in the game, Gabriel throws long to Pope. Pope makes a fantastic catch, then dashes to the Lions 6. But the stubborn Detroit defense forces the Rams to surrender the ball without a score. Late in the contest, Plum caps an 80-yard drive with a 16-yard payoff pitch to Barr to make it 37-10. Los Angeles manages another score, but the Lions rout the Rams 37-17. The Lions journey to Cleveland for an encounter with the Eastern leaders, the Browns. Split in, Gale Cogdell looks for a big day. Trailing 7-0 in the first quarter, Plum connects with Danny Lewis on a flare pattern, and the lanky Lion legs it 92 yards for a touchdown on Detroit's longest scoring play of 1964. Plum's 4-yard flip to Gibbons gives Detroit a 14-7 margin. Cleveland's Frank Ryan fades to throw. But watch Karras embarrass Frank with a clutch interception to stifle the Browns' march. As the second period begins, Plum pairs with Cogdell on a slant end pattern, and the ex-Washington Stater busts through the Browns for 30 yards. As Milt Plum backpedals, Sanders, Gonzaga, Whitlow, Gordy, and Simon form a perfect pocket around the passer. Plum hurls the ball to Barr, who has clearly beaten the Brown defenders. Terry breezes in to score, and the Lions take the lead. But a strong second-half surge carries Cleveland to a 37-21 triumph, and the Browns went on to win the World's Championship. The Minnesota Vikings arrive at Tiger Stadium, hoping to knock the Lions from second place. 10-year veteran defensive end Darius McCord, number 78, is an important cog in the Lion defense, which must be at its best today in combating the high-powered Viking running attack. In the first period, Plum pegs to Barr. Terry takes the leather to the Viking 4. Plum flips short to Jim Gibbons for a TD, but the point after touchdown fails, and Minnesota leads by 1. In the third period, Barr takes a short down-and-out pitch from Plum. Barr batters through 6 Vikings before he is harnessed after an 18-yard pickup. Trailing by a touchdown in the fourth quarter, the Lions have to put the pressure on the Vikings. Ernie Clark puts the squeeze on Tarkington, and Minnesota must punt. Detroit takes over and marches to the Viking 20. Plum connects with Barr. Terry makes the grab. Fumbles, recovers, then scores. The Vikings complain. The officials explain, and it's a 20-20 ball game. Minnesota breaks the tie with a field goal, and Detroit takes the ball with 90 seconds to play. Plum fires to Barr, and the Lions move into Viking territory. With 30 seconds of playing time remaining, Wayne Walker splits the uprights with a 37-yard placement and salvages a 23-23 tie for Detroit. The Lions beat the new Western Conference champions, the Baltimore Colts, at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Yale Larry, the 1963 NFL punting champion, fakes a kick in the first quarter and scampers for a Lion first down. Detroit is on the move as Plum delivers a 16-yard pitch to Barr. Petrosani jolts the Colts for a 10-yard pickup to the Baltimore 8. Milt Plum rolls right, then hits Gibbons with a touchdown strike for a 7-0 lead. Early in the second stanza, Plum ignites another Detroit drive as he targets Pat Studstill for 27 yards. Plum continues to probe the Baltimore secondary. This time he drills Terry Barr with a 30-yard toss. Milt runs right, then throws. Gibbons' diving catch moves Detroit into a 17-7 halftime lead. John Unitas opens the third period action with a pass to Jimmy Orr. The Colt flaggerback screws tacklers behind him. But Orr drops the ball on the 8-yard line. Lenny Moore dives on it in the Detroit end zone for a touchdown to cut the Lions' lead to 3 points. Detroit roars back as Milt Plum peels off 18 yards to the Colt 15. A few plays later, Plum punches in to score, and it's Detroit 24, Baltimore 14. Late in the fourth stanza, the Colts threaten. The Lion defense steps in. Bill Quinlan intercepts, then laterals to Denny Gaudens, and Detroit is in Colt territory. The Plum to Barr tandem tallies again as the Lions trounce the Western Conference champions 31-14. The unpredictable San Francisco 49ers meet the Detroit Lions in the season's finale. Tight end Jim Gibbons demonstrates why he was chosen the Lions' most valuable player for the 1964 season as he collects Plum's pass, rambles through the 49ers on a 64-yard touchdown excursion. On the initial play of the second quarter, Walker and Clark overpower John Brody on a blitz, forcing the 49ers into a punting situation. Davis kicks to Tommy Watkins. Watkins, who led the NFL in punt returns, runs through the Bay Area boys on a 68-yard touchdown junket. And the Lions enjoy a 17-0 margin at halftime. A double reverse in the third quarter sees Lion flanker back Terry Barr prowl through the prospectors for 18 yards. With the 49ers rushing 6 men, Bill Plum wisely selects a short down and out pattern for Jim Gibbons. The big tight end makes one of his patented diving catches for an 8-yard gain. John Brody fades to pass in the fourth period. Big Roger Brown buckles Brody for a loss of 8 yards. Late in the contest, Plum propels the pigskin to Gibbons. Jim caps his greatest day in the NFL as he opens the throttle on an 82-yard touchdown journey that paves the way to a 24-7 Lions victory.